Good morning, Primary 4. I am Miss Engy, your math teacher. Today we are going to explain a new lesson in Unit 2, which is Lesson 1, Symmetrical Figures and Line of Symmetry. The first lesson in Unit 2. We say that the figure has line of symmetry if it can be divided into congruent parts that match exactly. If we have any figure and we can divide it into equal parts, this line which we divide by it, this shape, we call it a symmetrical line. A symmetrical line. And we say that that figure is a symmetry figure. So, some geometrical figures have one only line of symmetry, and we have some geometrical figures have more than one, and we have other have no line of symmetry. We can draw to it a line of symmetry. As we see in these pictures, we have a figure like apple, butterfly, flower, arrow, house, and so on. All of these figures, we can divide them into equal parts. So, the line which I draw it, we call it line of symmetry or axis of symmetry. Okay? And this figure is a symmetrical figure. And we have another shapes. We can draw for it more than one line of symmetry. Let's start. What is the geometrical figure which has no axis of symmetry? It has just zero axis of symmetry. Trapezium, parallelogram, and scalene triangle. These three shapes has no axis of symmetry. Trapezium, parallelogram, and scalene triangle has no axis of symmetry. We can't draw from it for it any axis of symmetry. The figures which have just one axis of symmetry, we can draw for it just one axis of symmetry. Isosceles triangle and isosceles trapezium. Any isosceles figure, we can draw for it one axis of symmetry. One axis of symmetry. Okay? And what is the figure which has two axes of symmetry? Rectangle and rhombus. Rectangle and rhombus. We can draw for it two axes of symmetry. And the equilateral triangle, we can draw for it three axes of symmetry. Equilateral triangle, it's the only shape which has three axes of symmetry. Okay? And the square has four axes of symmetry. Also, it's the only shape which has four axes of symmetry. Okay? Now, the regular hexagon has six axes of symmetry. Six. Yes, it's six axes of symmetry for the hexagon. Okay? And the circle has a large number, an infinite number of axes of symmetry. We can draw it a lot of axes of symmetry. Okay? This is the number of axes of symmetry of each shape. So, trapezium, parallelogram, scalene triangle has no axis of symmetry. Isosceles trapezium or isosceles triangle has just one axis of symmetry. Rectangle, rhombus has two axes of symmetry. Equilateral triangle has three axes of symmetry. Square has four axes of symmetry. Hexagon has six axes of symmetry. And circle has an infinite number of axes of symmetry. Now we have an exercise from your book, page 57. Just put right or wrong and correct the wrong statement. The first statement, the parallelogram has four lines of symmetry. Parallelogram, wrong of course. Parallelogram has no axis of symmetry, has zero axis of symmetry. Okay, this is the correction. Number two, the rectangle has four lines of symmetry. Rectangle, wrong. Rectangle has just two axes of symmetry, not four. Okay, because we said before that the figure which has 4 axes of symmetry is a square. Number 3, the scalene triangle has 3 lines of symmetry. 3 lines of symmetry. Scalene triangle, of course, wrong. Scalene triangle has just no axis of symmetry, 0 axis of symmetry. Scalene triangle has 0 axis of symmetry. Isosceles triangle has 1 axis of symmetry. Equilateral triangle has 3 axes of symmetry. Okay. Number 4, the isosceles trapezium has 1 line of symmetry. Yes, it's right. Isosceles trapezium and isosceles triangle has just 1 line of symmetry. Number 5, the square has 4 lines of symmetry. Yes, this is a correct statement. It's right. The square is the only figure which has 4 axes of symmetry. Number 3, the rhombus has 4 lines of symmetry. Wrong. We said before, the only figure which has 4 axes of symmetry is a square. So rhombus hasn't 4 lines of symmetry. It has just 2 lines of symmetry. Rhombus and rectangle has 2 lines of symmetry. So this statement is wrong. This is our lesson today. Thank you. See you next time. Bye.